Smile 2 came out, and after the hugely successful first one, which I thought was okay with an awesome ending, I went and saw it alone, and we thought it'd be fun to do a review where one of us saw the movie and the other one was there for conversation and kind of ask questions instead of us both talking about it, just to see how it goes. So here's my review of Smile 2. Grayson, do you know anything about the Smile movies?
The only thing I know about the Smile movies is that apparently it's some sort of demon or some kind of monster that causes people to smile, and then you see these smiles going around.
Yes.
Like people start doing. I don't know much. I've not seen either one of them. And all I keep hearing is how I'm missing out and I need to watch them.
Yeah, so Smile is directed by Parker Finn, and he is after watching the second one, he is a grossly talented filmmaker. As far as camera movement, framing, direction, symmetry and frame, I gotta be honest, man, I think he's technically probably as good as Fetty is.
Oh, wow.
From a technical standpoint. But so he made a short film called Laura Hasn't Slept, and then he went on to make Smile, which he also wrote. And so Smile is awesome because it's like Candyman. It builds its own rules and universe.
Okay, got you.
To where you go and watch Candyman, and it's like it's an urban legend, and you say Candyman 5 times, and then he comes and gets you, and then you get driven crazy. So, like The Ring does as well.
Yep.
Like The Ring, you watch the tape, and 7 days you die. Don't.
Okay, so it has its set rules that you must follow in order to deal with this monster.
Yes.
Okay.
So in Smile, there's it's like a disease, right? So you're infected,
Okay.
right? And it wants to feed off of you,
Okay.
and then it wants you to kill yourself.
Okay.
But you want to kill yourself in front of somebody. The monster, whatever it is, wants you to kill yourself and have somebody witness it.
Okay.
And then it transfers. So it feeds off you.
Okay.
You get me to come over to your house or be around me. You kill yourself in front of me. And then it gets to me.
Gotcha.
It passes on.
Gotcha.
Right? So I guess similar to It Follows, but it will kill you like in 7 days.
Okay.
And it's going to drive you as batshit insane as it can before it makes you kill yourself, right? So the first one is pretty good. It's like a 6, right?
Yeah.
And then the third act takes it up to like a 7.5.
Yeah, I think the thing that was so interesting with the Smile trailer for the first one is that it didn't really interest me because I thought it was going to be really cheesy and really corny and wasn't going to really have much. But then you went and saw it and you're like, you need to watch this.
Yeah, I know you never went and saw it because there's like so much self-harm. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's the hook. But when you're watching the trailers and stuff, it's like really dorky until you realize that the smile isn't so much like the hook as so much all it is just a kind of creepy way to tell you that that person is now in kill themselves mode.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay. So as soon as you see the person crack that smile, that's whenever it's like, okay, it's over.
Yeah, like I
Gotcha.
might be infected and I'm acting crazy and I think there's a demon after me that you can't see, but as soon as I'm like, some terrible's about to happen.
So you said that by the end of Smile 1, it was up to a 7. Starts as a 6, cranks up to a 7.
Yeah, like
right?
a 7.5, right?
Okay. So now rolling into Smile 2.
Yes, so Smile 2 takes place directly after the first one.
I was just about to ask if it's a direct continuation.
Yep, it just passes right on where the first movie left off. And, like, I was just honestly blown away. I was very impressed. Naomi Scott, who is a Power Ranger from that new one that came out that was actually okay, she plays a singer, Sky Riley. She's a pop star. It's very much a Demi Lovato, like bottomed out, drugs, alcohol, terrible accident, rehabbing, and planning her comeback tour.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
So her mom, Rosemary DeWitt, is her mom playing it. Miles Gutierrez Riley is her assistant. And so she's coming off of drugs and alcohol abuse, some kind of tragedy that you find out about. And her tour is launching. probably not the best time to go crazy. Right?
Of course,
Lots
yes.
of pressure from the label. So, it gets passed to her in a very natural, organic way. There's a reason that a pop star. It's very strange to think that it's a continuation from like a doctor psychiatrist
to a pop star.
To a pop star. It makes perfect sense. It's great. It's an easy transfer.
It's a great way to up the ante too for a
exactly
sequel.
Right. So we have this. I'm watching the movie and I'm really just like, was the first one this good? Because constant long takes, following characters 2-3 minutes at a time. Opening scene is like a 10-minute one take. I'm pretty positive, and basically it eventually gets transferred to Naomi Scott. And one of the things I love, I love this about horror movies, is an unreliable narrator. That's one of the reasons I love Candyman so much, is because it's like, oh, she's murdering people. She doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, is she murdering people?
Exactly. So
I don't know, right?
It's that question that you have with the main character.
Yeah, and that's why Smile is so awesome, is because she's seeing things that other people aren't seeing. She's having hallucinations.
It's also kind of feeding into, is this something from her past? Did she might
is it
relapse?
her trauma?
Is she like on
but the
drugs
demon's
again?
also feeding off of her trauma and like using it to weaponize against her. And like, just technically, I mean, like the opening scene is like it's like an action scene and a chase scene, and then the camera pulls up to like an amazing title sequence, and I'm watching it and I'm legitimately like, why? Like, this is technically marvelous. It's Osgood Perkins good. It's Fede Alvarez good. It's like, why are we not talking about Parker Finn like absolutely like dominating this movie? And a lot of it takes place like in her apartment, and there's big concert scenes, and but yeah. So her career, she's trying to make a comeback, and she's just not trustworthy. She's seeing people, or she's picturing things happening.
Yes.
Her dressing room's getting trashed. She starts to alienate the people around her, and Naomi Scott just acting her ass off, right? Crying, tears, fear. She's freaking out and throwing up, and she's got all these great mannerisms about her, and she's just absolutely crushing it. She's also having to do like dancing and choreography, but I really want to focus on the theatrical experience, and I really, really urge you to see it in theaters, because the sound design is overwhelming. I don't want to oversell it, but I legit jumped like 7 or 8 times.
That's good.
Oh God, right?
Was it okay, so let me ask you this. So you jumped 7 or 8 times. Were they cheap scares or were they very well done?
They're extremely well done. I will say there are sections of the movie where it's like something's happening, she's out of nowhere. Oh my God, her leg's broken.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like there's one scene in particular where it is a cheap scare because like a facial thing changes and there's a loud jarring noise, right? But contextually in the film, it makes sense why she would hallucinate or not hallucinate that happening. So I love that the first Smile like has a third act that just goes crazy and off the rails. And this one does the same. It goes from scary, and there is a lot of self-harm, and it is very violent. One of the all-time best face smashes I've ever seen.
In Smile 2.
I'm
pretty sure I saw it from a TV spot.
You'll know it from the TV spot, yeah. It is grossly violent. The effects are really solid. But I just want to keep going back to like these camera movements and technically these one takes, and the one takes, the actress will be doing all this stuff and it's framed perfectly, and then you pull out and then she's got blood all over her, right? Or it's like the room is not what she thought it would be. And I think you've seen from the trailer, there's like a mob of people kind of coming after her. They do a lot of interesting things with like, she hallucinates like background dancers and stuff like that. Or does she hallucinate, right? But this third act goes into like genuinely laugh out loud, funny, like, oh my God, this is crazy. She's having to do psycho shit to navigate the situations that she's put her in. You know, like in Candyman when like she kills that therapist or that psychiatric doctor and she has to deal with the consequences and everybody thinks she's crazy. Same kind of stuff in Smile.
Okay.
And more so in this one because she's like a public figure, right?
So what you've seen from the Smile universe that they've created, do you think that this director has created like a world that could be as interesting as like the Conjuring world what you've seen?
I think it's, I mean, it obviously doesn't have like its villains that it can set up and split off, but it does have a really fun, unique rule set and how it's you know, like It Follows. That's a fun way of continuing a horror movie. The music and the sound all kind of command that you see it in theaters, but I want to say when the movie was over, I was holistically satisfied, and I cannot wait for the third one.
Good.
It sets up a sequel that will be even crazier, but at the end of the movie, they play music from Sky Riley, right? And I was the only person to see this 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And I was leaving the theater, and they take her concert music, and they start to, like, skip beats and mix in, like, her screaming and, like, hurting herself. And I was alone, and I was leaving the theater, and I got the childhood, I better get in bed. I genuinely thought I need to hurry up and get out of the theater because something's going to get me.
Nice.
It was a dark, like, red lit theater. I haven't felt that way since probably Strangers.
That's cool.
I had a genuine childhood. I hope I don't see myself smiling when I turn the corner to leave the aisle.
That's awesome.
Because the music was booming and she's like, and I was like, that's so amazing.
So here's my next question. So I guess the only thing I can really compare this to is like a Final Destination. Do you feel like this is kind of like the Final Destination of like a new generation with how people are dying and there's not really a killer that you see, but it is happening?
I think you are looking forward to how people are going to kill themselves.
So it is kind of Final Destination.
Yeah, I guess so. Not so much it's like that's the hook. Because the hook really, for me, the hook is the psychosis. Like, am I dreaming this or is it real? Because she's like meeting fans and the fans are creepy, but it's like, is that a creepy fan or is that me? Is that a demon in my head?
For sure.
Right? I think that's the hook. But yeah, these kind of, when I was studying like writing in college, my teachers would always say, where are your beads on your necklace? Right? And the beads are okay, she's in the room with somebody. Is this person about to kill themselves in front of her? And it's just like it's got the ring. It's got a 7-day countdown, so there's a sense of urgency. And I think the trailer doesn't spoil really anything.
Good.
And I was just constantly surprised. But I think overall, like just technically, it was like funny and just really well filmed. There's a lot of encroaching shots of like her being afraid. And like, I don't know, man. I was like, it's not like a perfect horror film, but there's zero things wrong with it, in my opinion.
Okay.
Right? There's
cool.
like, it's not like I can say it's like it's like a 4 and maybe some change out of 5.
There ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, and I was like, the theater experience is probably real better. Is probably the best way to watch it unless you have an insane sound system. But I saw it in XD, and I jumped a lot, and I was like, oh man, that'd be so messed up if I saw myself leaving the theater.
Do you think that this is a series that you'll go back and watch the first and second one before the third one?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think I'll watch them both. I'm going to watch Smile 1 again.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was just great. I think you should go see it. I don't think you should sleep on it. And I honestly, it's almost like it's too bad. I'm excited for Parker Finn's third movie, but it's almost a shame that that he's probably going to be busy making these movies for another couple of years before we see him.
Off.
I don't think that people dislike Smile, but like I think maybe because of like you kind of just think it's dorky from looking at it, and I thought it looked dorky from seeing it. but it does have such a cool set of rules, and I'm looking forward to the rest. So you should definitely go see Smile 2.
I'm gonna go home and watch Smile 1.
And I look forward to seeing it. If you go see Smile 2, I would go to theaters and see this again with you.
Oh, okay.
I would watch it a second time.
I'm definitely gonna watch Smile 1 tonight.
Okay.
So
I think you should. And it was 2 hours and 7 minutes. And I will say, I could have, if it was a 3-hour movie, I could have watched a 3-hour movie.
oh wow.
I could have sustained this for probably 2.5, 2 hours 45 minutes, no
Jesus.
problem. So
Okay.
I was very excited. So go watch Smile 2. Way to go. Hey, Parker, you keep killing it. I'm really proud of you. It's great.